right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, let's talk a little bit more about this upcoming show in Italy, the Flex Pro Weekend, because another really good bodybuilder just threw his hat into the ring there, and that would be Tim Budesheim, the German giant himself, and he posted a series of updates here at about a week and a half out from that show, where he looks really impressive. He has a really powerful-looking physique, and he looks like he's bringing the conditioning that we all know him for. I'm telling you guys, this show is really shaping up to be one of the most impressive shows of the season. This is a guy that, he's another show-winning bodybuilder. This is not just some second call-out guy. This is another serious contender here. And this is going to be, I think, a highly, highly competitive show in Italy. Again, just to run through some of the names: Nathan Diasha, Regan Grimes, Blessing Awodabu, Good Vito, now Tim Budesheim. I think bodybuilding fans are really in for a treat with this show. I mean, the fact that we've had all these lineups that have been like 5 guys, 6 guys, and not the deepest lineups at a lot of these shows that we've had over the beginning and the middle of the season. We're getting to the point now where we're close to the Olympia, and these guys are coming out of the woodwork and doing these few remaining shows to try to get that last-minute Olympia qualification, and I really think this show is going to be a banger. Now, another guy that we just mentioned who's also doing that show, Blessing Awodabu, looking for redemption here. And I think he might find it, because these are some of the most impressive updates I think we've seen of Blessing, showing off his back double bicep here. He's clearly in much better shape than the last time around. Clearly, he did his own diet last time, and clearly this coach that he's working with now has the formula figured out a lot better than Blessing did on his own. And this back double bicep, man, it's crazy. If only his lower body really could catch up with the rest of his body. If he had some bigger legs from the back and really deep, I mean, he's got some good hamstring separation here, but if he had some bigger legs, a little bit wider to give him more of an X-frame, and some deeper separated hamstrings, this guy would have one of the most lights-out back double biceps that we've seen in a long time. But still, I think a little bit to be desired on the lower body. But if you put a comparison here of 3 guys that we just got a back double bicep from, all at the same time frame from this show, this is all around 2 weeks out, some a little bit more, some a little bit less. But Nathan Diasha on the far left, Blessing in the middle, and then Good Vito on the right. As many fans as Blessing may have alienated with his antics at the Olympia, whether you like Blessing or don't, you've got to look at this comparison and admit this is a really impressive pose for Blessing, and it looks like he's going to be bringing a much better look to this show than the last time that we saw him. And I think, especially in these back shots, he's going to be really competitive. Now, I'm not saying that I think Blessing is going to win the show, but what I am saying is this is going to be a really competitive show, and I don't think anybody is going to easily predict the winner of this thing, because all these guys are looking close to their best. Regan, Good Vito making his pro debut. Nathan, for the first time in a while, back on stage looking incredible. I think this is going to be a show that we're talking about for like a couple weeks afterwards, because it's going to be such an interesting result, kind of like the Texas Pro. And then we have just a week afterwards the European Championships, where these guys will get the opportunity for a rematch. But I also wanted to mention, so we're going to have that European Championships in Spain the next week after the Italy show. And there's also classic physique competition there, where the classic physique guys are trying to qualify for the Olympia. And Wesley Vissers is doing that show. So if you're not watching it for open bodybuilding, the classic physique portion of that show is going to be entertaining as well, because Wesely looks really impressive in these recent updates. The thing that I really like about Wesley's physique, besides the obvious, we all like his shape. He's got a very aesthetic look to his physique. I really like the amount of detail that he has in his upper body, the striations throughout the chest and the shoulders, and then when you see him turn around from the back, just detail all over the place. When he's in shape, he's got a really incredible physique. I mean, his skin in these updates looks paper thin. This is the type of conditioning that we like to see, and I'm curious to see how he does at this show. I think he's got to be the favorite to win just based on what I've seen. And I'm curious to see him back on the Olympia stage. I want to see him a little bit more in that conversation. You know, we've been talking about Wesely on and off for the past like 4 years now, maybe 5 years, because he won the Mr. Gold, 6 years, Jesus, because he won the Mr. Golden Era competition that I had on the channel, and that was in 2017. So we've been talking about him for the better part of a decade now, which is insane. And I still think he brings something really special to the classic physique stage at the Olympia that I think belongs up there with the top Olympians. So I think this just gives us a little bit something extra to look forward to at the European Championships in Spain. The classic physique division should be exciting as well. Now, speaking of classic physique, we got the first physique update, straight on, front and back, posing trunks and everything from Terrence Ruffin at now 5 weeks out. from the Legion Sports Festival, which will be, by the way, the very last opportunity to qualify for the Olympia, I believe in any men's division, but definitely for bodybuilding. So we've talked about Ramon recently in videos, we've talked about Urs recently in videos, but Terrence is somebody that I think is going to benefit the most from the change in the classic physique rules, allowing these guys to be slightly heavier. We talked about it's slightly different. The taller guys get a little bit less weight increase, but the shorter guys really get a lot. And I think Terrence even said in a post that he thinks there's a possibility he could weigh up to 15 pounds heavier on the actual Olympia stage, just depending on what his height ends up being. Because some of these guys have spoke on this, and I think this is an interesting aspect, is the more depleted they get and the more water and fat they lose, it can actually affect their height. So if somebody were able to come in fuller and bigger, they could actually also be taller as a result of that. In a division like classic physique, where like an inch or a half inch can change which weight class you're in, that's pretty significant. And I think what we're seeing here is already a fuller looking Terrence Ruffin. And again, when we talked about Blessing looking for redemption, Terrence is certainly looking for it. Obviously, he slipped pretty significantly out of that second place spot at the Olympia this past year. And the reason was primarily, I think, because of the fact that he missed weight and then he had to try to lose that weight at the last minute. I think that was the issue. And without him having to face that issue this year, supposedly with this increase, I think there's a very real possibility that we see Terrence back in that conversation and really fight his way back up next to Chris Bumstead. And I know it's easy to overlook him right now because you've got Ramon Dino and Urs Kausinski, constantly improving, looking crazy in their updates, being the top guys now. I understand why people are already looking past Terrence, and I see that a lot in the comments, but he's still here, and I still think he's going to be a very big factor at the Classic Physique Olympia. And don't be surprised if he fights his way past one of your favorite guys. Because just remember, he's beat them all before, and it wasn't that long ago. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to speak on this as well. I was actually talking to Milos about this the other day, but Milos and his athlete, Behrooz Tabani. So Behrooz, fantastic bodybuilder. He's qualified for the Open Olympia. He's been qualified for the past 2 years now, and last year he was unable to make it for the same reason that it seems he might not be able to make it this year. So Milos put up this post and said, "We are becoming desperate," and he tags Behrooz Tabani. He said, "Still didn't get a new appointment from the U.S. Embassy and never got the response from his previous appointment from almost a year ago. If someone can help, please do." And he tags Dan Solomon, Tyler Mannion, and the IFBB Pro League. So he's having trouble getting his visa to come over here. I think Behrooz is a world-class bodybuilder, no doubt about it. I think he belongs on that Olympia stage. I want to see him compete, and I think that he deserves to be there. So if anybody watching this has any ideas or knows how to help, contact Milos or contact Behrooz. And see if there's anything you can do to help. Because as a bodybuilding fan, I certainly want to see him on that Olympia stage. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, the latest physique update from Horse MD, Marcelo De Angelis, a very popular bodybuilder coming out of Brazil. He started in classic physique, decided to go with open bodybuilding instead, and he's been kind of bulking up and really preparing to make his open bodybuilding debut. And he says in this post, it translates to he's ending his offseason, and he says, "Do you know what that means?" So I'm guessing that means he's about to start a prep for a show, an open show. And he says he's weighing 126 kilos at the end of this offseason, which is 277 pounds. So obviously significantly bigger than your average classic physique guy, which is why we see him switching to open. I think he was struggling with that classic physique weight cap, and he thought that open bodybuilding would be better suited for his physique. I think he's incredible. I think he's got a really great structure. It was definitely good for classic, but I think it's definitely refreshing to see an open. The only thing I'm concerned about is his back. We've seen in the past, it's not the thickest or densest, widest back, certainly not in the Pro League. From the front, he's very, very good. From the sides as well. I think the one thing he needs to improve upon going into open bodybuilding is just going to be specifically his back double bicep, but just his back in general. And I'm pretty curious to see what this guy's going to be able to do and what show he picks for his pro debut, so stay tuned to find out. But let me know in the comment section below what you think about Horse MD and all the stories that we talked about in today's video. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look, and all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.